Start the party.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Hey, lovelies, I'm back. I don't know if we're working or not. Let's have a look. I want to see if the chat's working out there. If you're joining this video on Rewind, we had a power cut again. But I've been laughing so much, I've got to say. Let me see if this chat is working on here on the screen, okay? I'm just going to send a message saying hi, and let's see if we are good to roll or not. Let's have a look. Oh, right, so it's not on the screen, is it? Right, let me just... the setup time takes ages, you know. Let me just reset this. And let me see if I can get it up on screen. Is that working? Ah, right, we got it. Okay, so where do we go from? Oh, man. If Akakashi is listening, when he come on and said, oh my God, what is she wearing? Of course, if you've not seen the first part of this video, it's about Theresa May. Let me bring it up and we'll carry on from where we left off. When the power went out, you don't want to know what I said. It's not good. I hope nobody was sort of... But the whole place, it's not just my house. Whole place is going down. Do you know what I mean? The whole place goes black. And if they're just doing that for me, then all those other poor people have got to pay. Oh my God, what has she got on a straitjacket? God, keep the comments coming, guys. I absolutely love it. Hey, Carol, how are you doing? Oh, thank you. You're very kind. Right up against it we are, but we've got to do this because I was properly laughing and I love you all for it, right? I'll play it before I start laughing too much. Here's the rest of it, okay? Oh, nearly.
Hard time limit to the backstop. I've explained this to the EU and tested these points in negotiations, but the EU would not agree to this because they fear that such a provision could allow the UK to leave the backstop at any time without any other arrangements in place and require a hard border to be erected between Northern Ireland and Ireland. I have been very clear with them that this is not something we would ever countenance, that the UK is steadfast in its commitment to the Belfast Agreement and would never allow a return to a hard border. But it is not enough simply to say this. Both sides also need to take steps to avoid a hard border when the UK is outside of the EU. Failing to do so would place businesses on the island of Ireland in an impossible position, having to choose between costly new checks and procedures that would disrupt their supply chains or breaking the law. So we have the backstop as a last resort. But both the Taoiseach and I have said consistently that the best way to avoid a hard border is through the future relationship. That is the sustainable solution, and that neither of us want to use the backstop. So since the Council, we've been looking at commitments that would ensure we get
our future relationship in the mirror with a hairbrush.
Alternative arrangements in place by the end of the implementation period, so that there will be no need to enter the backstop and no need for any fear that there will be a hard border. And that is why, in the first of the further assurances they've provided today, the EU has committed to begin exploratory talks on the detailed legal provisions of the future relationship as soon as this Parliament has approved the deal and the withdrawal agreement has been signed, and they have been explicit that this can happen immediately after this House votes through the agreement. If this House approved the deal tomorrow, it would give us almost 2 years to complete the next phase of the negotiations. And of course, we will have the option to extend the implementation period if further time were needed for either 1 or 2 years. It is my absolute conviction that we can turn the political declaration into legal text in that time, avoiding the need for the backstop altogether. The letters also make clear that these talks should give particular urgency to discussion of ideas, including the use of all available facilitative arrangements and technologies for replacing the backstop with permanent arrangements, and further, that those arrangements are not required to replicate the backstop provisions in any respect. So, contrary to the fears of some honourable members, the EU will not simply insist that the backstop is the only way to avoid a hard border. They have agreed to discuss technological solutions and any alternative means of delivering on this objective and to get on with this as a priority in the next phase of negotiations. Second, the EU has now committed to a fast-track process to bring our future trade deal into force once it has been agreed. If there is any delay in ratification, the Commission has now said they will recommend provisionally applying the relevant parts of the agreement so that we would not need to enter the backstop. Such a provisional application process saved 4 years on the EU-Korea deal, and it would prevent any delays in ratification by other EU member state parliaments from delaying our deal coming into force. Third, the EU has provided absolute clarity on the explicit linkage between the withdrawal agreement and the political declaration and made that link clear in the way the documents are presented. I know some colleagues are worried about an imbalance between the withdrawal agreement and the political declaration, because the EU cannot reach a legal agreement with us on the future relationship until we are a third country. But the link between them means the commitments of one cannot be banked without the commitments of the other, and the EU have been clear they come as a package. Bad faith by either side in negotiating the legal instruments that will deliver the future relationship laid out in the political declaration would be a breach of their legal obligations under the withdrawal agreement. Fourth, the exchange of letters confirms that the UK can unilaterally deliver all of the commitments we made last week to safeguard the interests of the people and businesses of Northern Ireland and their position in our precious union. For it gives clear answers to address some questions that have been raised since the deal was reached. That the deal means no change to the arrangements which underpin North-South cooperation in the Belfast Agreement. That Stormont will have a lock on any new laws the EU proposes should be added to the backstop, and that the UK can give a restored Northern Ireland executive a seat at the table on the joint committee overseeing the deal. Mr. Speaker, President Juncker says explicitly in his letter that the backstop would represent a suboptimal trading relationship for both sides. We've spoken at length about why we want to avoid the backstop, but it is not in the EU's interests either. For this backstop gives the UK tariff-free access to the EU's market. It does so with no free movement of people, no financial contribution, no requirement to follow most of the level playing field rules, and no need to allow EU boats any access to our waters for fishing. Furthermore, under these arrangements, UK authorities in Northern Ireland would clear goods for release into the EU single market with no further checks or controls. This is unprecedented and means the EU relying on the UK for the functioning of its own market. So the EU will not want this backstop to come into force, and the exchange of letters today makes clear that if it did, they would do all they could to bring it to an end as quickly as possible. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, I fully understand that these new assurances still will not go as far as some would like. I recognise that some members wanted to see changes to the withdrawal agreement, a unilateral exit mechanism from the backstop, an end date, or rejecting the backstop altogether. Although it should be said that this would have risked other EU member states attempting to row back on the significant wins we had already achieved, such as on control over our waters or the sovereignty of Gibraltar. But the simple truth is this: the EU was not prepared to agree to this, and rejecting the backstop altogether means no deal. Whatever version of the future relationship you might want to see, from Norway to Canada to any number of variations, all of them require a withdrawal agreement, and any withdrawal agreement will contain the backstop. And that is not going to change, however the House votes tomorrow. And to those who think we should reject this deal in favour of no deal because we cannot get every assurance we want, I ask, what would a no-deal Brexit do to strengthen the hand of those campaigning for Scottish independence, or indeed those demanding a border poll in Northern Ireland? Surely this is the real threat to our union. Mr. Speaker, with just 74 days until the 29th of March, the consequences of voting against this deal tomorrow are becoming ever clearer. With no deal, we would have no implementation period, no security partnership, no guarantees for UK citizens overseas, and no certainty for businesses and workers like those I met in Stoke this morning. And we would see changes to everyday life in Northern Ireland that would put the future of our union at risk. And if, rather than leaving with no deal, this House blocked Brexit, that would be a subversion of our democracy, saying to the people saying to the people we were elected to serve that we were unwilling to do what they had instructed. So I say to members on all sides of this House, whatever you may have previously concluded, over these next 24 hours, give this deal a second look. No, it is not perfect, and yes, it is a compromise. But when the history books are written, people will look at the decision. People will look at the decision of this House tomorrow and ask, did we deliver on the country's vote to leave the European Union? Did we safeguard our economy, our security and our union? Or did we let the British people down? I say we should deliver for the British people and get on with building a brighter future for our country by backing this deal tomorrow, and I commend this statement to the House.
Well, what do you make of that then, guys? Well, I just come on to do that, you know. God, she's an EU spokesperson, isn't she? She just is. That's not like someone that's been negotiating for... Oh, it just maddens me, it does. It just nothing's changed though at all, is it? I'm just clicking buttons in the background. Put your comments in there and I'll read them out, okay? Let me just check in with Jean-Claude Juncker. What does he say?
President Juncker, the Brexit saga looks no closer to being resolved. Are you concerned?
I am through, Hugh. It is like seeing your child in a play. You have to sit there and watch as they mess everything up. And just when you think it's over, it keeps going. Blah.
Do any of this week's events change anything for you?
Nothing is changing. It does not matter if it is May, if it is the floppy Boris one, if it is the posh one who looks like a big otter. I'm sick of the hoo-ha.
Finally, just to be clear, you said you wouldn't renegotiate, but clarification is possible. What does that mean?
You want to know what clarification means? Okay, here's what I do. I will put my face right up to hers. I will look her dead in the eyes, and I will say, can you not hear the words that come out of my mouth? Are you hard of the hearing? Am I a little cuckoo bird going cuckoo, cuckoo? We will not renegotiate. Now, excuse me, I am going to do something I find more enjoyable, like, I don't know, beating myself on the head with a waffle iron. Anything but Brexit. Good day to you.
Oh man, that's about the size of it, isn't it? She's working for that dude, isn't she? That's my take on it. I think Dumbbell nailed it actually when he said that she goes over to Brussels for advice of how to sell it to the British Parliament. So anyway, for those joining us outside the UK, this is the deal now. Theresa May, British PM, has got to come into Parliament and they're going to vote on it tomorrow. Should that lot not agree, and what are the chances on that? I don't think so. I'd have a casual flutter bet that is so not going to happen. Then there's a 72-hour period for her to renegotiate and put another deal forward. Well, what's the chances of that going to happen? So now in British mainstream, everybody's talking about either extending Article 50 or extending Brexit, or doing another vote which absolutely ditches democracy, which is just the most comical thing in the world. I loved the earlier comments, guys. Just so cool, I've got to say. Let me say hello. Right, let me read out the comments so that people can get it on the audio as well. Who have we got? Carol Wilkes says, I'm trying to remain calm as this is just the start. It is just the start as well. Sean Sim, hey Sean, how you doing? Bring me a shrubbery and a new PM. I should have played the gallows poll, shouldn't I? Akakashi, Merkel negotiated this deal. I wouldn't be surprised at all. LCB, looks like a no-deal Brexit. Well, that's what Brexit should have been. She's saying without all this stuff already pre-arranged, leave means leave, doesn't it? I could read out the definition of leave, but, it's just... leave means leave, and they just don't want to do it. All they want to do is have... If the EU agreement was like a file on somebody's desk, They don't want to change anything inside the file. They just want to scribble out the front and change the title on it, isn't it? It's kind of like that. I find it's one of those things that's so maddening. I have to laugh at it because it's so bad and so obvious that she's just not negotiating for the UK, is she? She's negotiating for the EU. She's like Juncker's and Tusk's stooge, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. Anyway, let's get some more comments. I voted for a no deal, says Akakashi. I'm going to call you Akakashi. Akakashi says, many people voted. We won the vote, didn't we? And they want to change it to the modern day victims, hurty feelings and all that kind of stuff. And like the people that come second have a say as well. No, darling, that's not the way it works in a democracy. And I promise you guys, if they would have voted and the Remainers would have won, it should have been upheld, but they didn't. They didn't win, did they? And it's going to go big time. If you're outside the UK, watch this space because this is really going to get going, I tell you. Hey, Joy, how you doing? I hope you're having a lovely evening and you had a good weekend away. Night and Day says, do you think Theresa May fills a wardrobe from eBay without looking at what she's buying? She'll have somebody dressing her, won't she? She'll have like one of that kind of thing going on. I bet you're not going to go out in that outfit. Why didn't somebody say, look, if she had any friends, they would have said, darling, it looks like a straitjacket. Don't do it, you know. Wish fix, I've already left the EU. I am no longer represented by the British government and I refuse to be ruled by a foreign power. Good evening, fellow bigots. A smiley face. Sean Sims, 17.5 million said out. Get over it. It A1 but. Okay, I can't read the rest of it. Jane, I voted no deal too. Absolutely. It's just like, no, the banksters are just so pulling the strings, aren't they? You can almost see the puppet wires coming off of Theresa May. That's what it looks like to me. Jane, what else have we got? John Wayne's guns. We are getting done over. No surprise there. No surprise there, right, John? Noddy said, I voted out no deal. Jane deal. Always got to have kitten heels. Right. Isn't it? Excuse me. Night and Day. Her dresser must have white stick a dog. I had visions of her practicing it with a hairbrush in the mirror because that speech has been how long have the Parliament been waiting for that? Has she been practicing it every night? I think she has, you know. Hairbrush in front of the mirror. That's my vision I've got as well. No doubt Borok's going to hit it up with a serious one. At Jane, Brits possibly need to do a stop paying taxes. Yeah, right. Like that's going to happen. Small businesses, shops, investors. No more to the HRC. Keep it in a nation trust to keep trust responders, etc. paid. Okay, Jane Neal, the bank's having a field day. They are having a field day, aren't they? If they breach the derivative contracts. And everybody, like, the rumour on the economy, on the economists' things within Europe is they can see this coming. Do you know what I mean? This could fold Europe. It could fold the EU. I'm all for it myself. But that aside is they're moving their money from their banks into the Bundesbank because if it breaks up, the most valued currency in there will be the Deutschmark. And it's all going on. They're just not talking about it. Do you know what I mean? What else have we got? John Wayne's guns. Hopefully the next person to dress May is an undertaker. I was looking at her thinking they've left some room there underneath. That collar's low enough to get a noose round there. I should have played the Gallows pole, Led Zeppelin. LCB says, has she been brought the coat to persuade her to fudge the Brexit? Dunno. It's like, what a joke. Why don't people look at that and think, you're kidding, right? You're not serious, are you? You're not pretending. Are you really think that you're looking persuasive, that you are negotiating for the UK? That's kind of where I am with it. I just look at her and think, if you was hiring for a negotiator, yeah, no, she wouldn't be on the shortlist, I can tell you. Akakashi says, Germany is on the verge of recession. Car sales are down 10%. Yeah, totally. Phoebe, hey Phoebe, how are you doing? John Way, she already looks like death. Sean Sim, put May in a round room and tell her to find the corners. Brilliant. I love it. Dumbbell. May suits something long and flowing like a river. It's all going to go off during the week, guys. Like, in a big way. When I was on American at radio at the weekend, I was saying that lot, you know, in Washington, D.C. as well. You've got to watch the UK because it's really going to go off here. It's like a gift that keeps giving, you know. Chippy T, depressed with all what's going on and angry. Oh, Chippy, got to ride the wave, my man. You know, I'm assuming you're a dude, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but got to ride the wave on this one. You got to roll with it and just do what we can and those kind of things. They had a segment on Radio 2 right today, which is like the big time radio station in the UK, going, oh, have you been right? This is serious, guys. We want you to call in. So this is the host of Radio 2. We want you to call in if you have been clinically diagnosed as depressed over Brexit. Really? And people were calling in. Honest to God, they were calling in. No, I've been diagnosed. It's Brexit something or other. Brexit. What could you call it? Brexit. Something like a clinical name. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. And these people are on the phone. I can't cope, and they're doing that thing. You got to listen to it. It's a gift that keeps going. Hey Joss, how are you doing? Let's get some more of them. Cheer up, Chippy. Is this not cheering you up? Come on, sweetie. Yeah, well, let's go get them, eh? And there was way more on the Yellow Vest. There was way more Yellow Vest gatherings over the weekend that made the news as well. I've spotted that. But that aside, Joss Ambrose, evening bigots. Evening bigot. We've been plotting how to do away with Corbyn and his, what's that say? Comma. Oh, it's moved too fast. I can't read it. Brexit toxic shock. Yeah, that would do, Sean. That would do. Brexit phobia. Such a creative bunch. Corbyn will be clutching his Marx's pillow, and falling to sleep with a hopefully smile on his dopey face. Maybe noddy one. I think she will go for a no deal after reading the Q post. She has been neutered more like. She was never in it for us. In my opinion, she was never in it for us. Because you'd marched in there and said, look, I'm taking an early lunch. We're leaving. Put something on the table that I find interesting. Chippy T, 17.5 million voters just ignored. Cast aside. Unbelievable. It is quite unbelievable, Chippy. But we get to see how deep-rooted the deep state is, isn't it? You know, the bankers pull the strings, don't they? What else have we got? I've been laughing. Let me clear my throat. Oh man, I was laughing when Akakashi come on. I went, "Oh my god, what's she got on?" You bitch! Right, okay. What else have we got on? Enoch, Enoch, toss him in the safe space and throw away the key. Is there a key to a safe space? Is there? I didn't know that. I need to meet more liberals. Sean Sim, a 12-year-old kid could come up with something. You're right, Sean. Absolutely, you are spot on. Well, no. But they've got to be on side even if they're 12 years old, haven't they? They've got to be on side. If you've got someone negotiating for you with, you know, what do they call it? An own goal or something like that? I don't know. Something in that kind of region. Something like that. Anyway. What else have we got? Night and Day says, one thing that this shows us all is that how very few MPs follow the constitution. What does that say? Constitution. We don't have a constitution. Vote to leave versus own agenda. They're all in it. Once they get in, they just want you to shut up so they can get on with it, isn't it? I think that's the way it works. Dumbbell. May is a globalist agent. Dun, 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 and all that. That can do more damage, restraining progress and muddying the waters for the inevitable exit. Is it inevitable? I don't know. Bullrock says prison cells are typically safe spaces. Nice one, Bullrock. I'd rather I'd rather execution because the dead need not to be fed. Cold. And Enoch says, hey Joss, right, I want to play you up for it. I saw a couple of minutes of it and I did exactly what Akakashi did. Went, oh my God, what has she got on? Followed by, you've been practicing that in the mirror at home with a hairbrush, right? Because she was sort of, when you watch her sort of more intuitively speak, even off paper, there's a few more pauses. She's been practicing that, you know. Put on your glass. I haven't got my glasses on. Hey, this was just a quick thing. It was supposed to be painless, but of course we got a power cut. In the last 36 hours, we've had 8 power cuts. But here I am, I keep going. I nearly chucked the towel in on that one and went, oh no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to wait until we've had a clear run. But I look out the window as soon as the power cut. Is it just me? No, it's the whole lot. The whole place goes black, you know. So they'd have to be really cross with me to do that to everybody, wouldn't they? Mind you, they have been really cross with me before. Akakashi, she looks like a piece of Tottenham cake. Ooh, there's some Tottenham fans in the crowd. John Wayne's Guns put Tommy Robinson in charge of Brexit. Wow, can you even imagine? Did anybody catch the show I did that all the tabloids, I think it was I think it was the beginning of last week, run an article like The Sun, The Mirror, all the red top press sort of thing, saying that there's secret talks going on to put Tommy Robinson at the front of UKIP. Can you imagine that? Blimey. Jay Neal, lovely Sean, so sadly true. 10 years ago when we went, oh okay, so I've took that out of context, sorry. Enoch laughing out, they are willing to take down a whole neighbourhood to shut you down. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like, this is what happens when you build a hierarchy on equality of outcome as opposed to competency. There's one for Jordan Peterson. And there's a movie just coming out for Jordan Peterson as well. I heard an interview on CBC, Canadian radio. Oh my God, it was like listening to paint dry. But I got the sort of nuts and bolts. But there's a movie out called Shut Him Down, Jordan Peterson. Check it out. It's out now, I think. Worth checking out because I like Jordan. What else have we got? Tommy for PM says... Sean, excellent. Hey, Tommy, at Wishfix, May and her cronies are traitors to his country. The Queen is complicit. Ooh, damning. And is allowing our country to be ruled by a foreign power. Aren't they German? Kind of the House of Witten and, was it Saxo? I can't think of the name. Yeah, I thought it was like all cadets of the House of Witten and everything. Dunno. What do I know? Carol says, I think Tommy has had another threat notice. Hey, Mac Tavish, how are you doing? So if you're just joining us, this is Ria Bow doing her best to have a bit of a chuckle at something really quite serious. If you're outside the UK, watch your space. I'm going to cover this as best I can. Technical problems, power cuts and whatever else. I'm going to do my best to get it out there to my lovelies outside the UK and inside the UK for us to follow this, because this is huge. This is so huge. I know I'm laughing and taking the mickey out of it, but it's massive. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely massive. And when you look at the wording that she's using, just all the time they're going, you're an EU still. That's what's going on in my mind. You're an EU stooge. That's what you are. You're batting for the EU. You're not batting for the UK. And you're not, makes me cross. So as long as I don't do the cross thing, I'm all right. I can laugh at it. What else have we got in the chat? Carol, Tommy has skin like a rhino. He does have skin like a rhino, that's for sure. Carol, I hope so, John. So, okay, guys, that's it. I wanted to bring you that. I kind of saw it and thought, and it is huge. If you're outside the UK and listening, this is the biggest thing in UK culture. Is that a bit strong? No, maybe not the biggest thing, but it's right up there in terms of UK, certainly in politics. This is the story that is running through the UK because they've made such a bad job of what they're doing. And the banksters have so much power to resist. We see it in action. So I'm going to cover this. I want to take a couple more comments and I'm going to go. What else have we got? Night and Day says Tommy would be another Marmite character, just like Nigel, and he headed up UKIP. However, he would definitely get my vote, considering the dross that are supposed to be representing us. They don't really represent us, do they? That's like a pretend thing, I think. Mr. Anonymous, hey Mr. Anonymous, how you doing? Although the Queen has sweeping powers of which she could have us leave the EU, can she do that, can she? If she did it, would mean the end of the royals, which is fine by me. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. The EU, okay, wish fix. The EU, I've got to get my glasses. Where's my glasses? It's miles away, this screen. And I've had to do a bit of a make-do. Let's have a look. Wish fix. The EU wrote her a Brexit deal. It's even worse than my glasses. Yes, don't just agree. Sean Sims, World War III just around the corner. God, I hope not. Noddy Rearbow, it's worldwide global. Yeah, no, I get that, Noddy. It's sort of all part of the deal, isn't it? John Wayne, wish fix, correct. Okay, you're talking amongst yourselves. This is still a technically World War One at Enoch. Same powers are pulling the strings today and back then. Sean Sim, give me 50 barrels of gunpowder. Jane, yep, seen. Right, I'm going to close out, guys. I'll get over to the chat room at some point and we'll have a bit of a chuckle in there or something. But that's it. I wanted to bring you it. That is the final speech. The House of Parliament, House of Commons goes home and they've got a vote tomorrow. So we'll see how the vote goes. I'll be watching it and I'll bring you it as and when it happens and as and when I see it. All given I don't get too many power cuts and whatever else technicals I get. I'm going to love you and leave you, my darlings. Yeah, okay. So let's not do it. Right, anyway, so I'm going to close out. I love you always. Pop over to our website. If you're listening from wherever you're listening from, just type in your browser Sunday Long Live Radio and you'll end up at the website, okay? I'll see you soon. Love and peace always. Enjoyed the chuckle and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.